I met Rhea Lawson in 6th grade. We were the weird girls, the kind of kids who wrote spooky stories during recess. Instead of playing dodgeball, who could quote entire scenes from The Sixth Sense? And who wandered through the library just to sniff the pages of old Stephen King novels? Rhea was bolder than me. She had this wild, curly hair she refused to brush, a loud laugh that echoed in the hallways, and zero fear when it came to things that scared most kids. Haunted houses? Loved them. Creepy antique dolls? Had 3. Ouija board? Kept 1 under her bed. We weren't just best friends. We were each other's lifelines. My house was always quiet 2 parents who barely spoke, always working. Rhea's house was messy and alive. Loud music, big hugs, warm food. I think that's why I ended up spending so many nights at her place when we were younger. But by high school, things changed. My parents finally started being parents again, and I started hosting the sleepovers. My room became our hangout spot, string lights, horror movie posters, 2 mattresses crammed side by side, and a little corner shelf stacked with our favorite scary DVDs. We had a tradition. Every Friday night, no matter what, we'd watch at least 1 horror movie in total darkness, door closed, phones off. It was our thing. Just us. No interruptions. The night everything changed, it was freezing outside late November. Just before Thanksgiving break, my window had started frosting around the edges, and the heater in my room made this soft ticking sound like it was counting down to something. We were watching The Ring, her choice, as always. Rhea loved anything with a cursed video or ghost girl in a white dress. I hated that movie. The way Samar moved. The sound of the tape. The well, all of it. About an hour in, right as Samara started crawling out of the TV, Rhea sat up suddenly. Not like casually. It was stiff like her body jerked into position. Her eyes were locked on the edge of my bed. I paused the movie. What? She didn't answer. Her gaze didn't shift. She was staring at the shadow beneath my bed, unblinking. Rhea? I said, what? She whispered, there's something under your bed. I let out a nervous laugh. Okay, creepy. Very on theme. Nice. I'm not joking, she said. Her voice was flat, empty, like she wasn't even really there. Rhea, stop. She didn't blink. Didn't smile. Just slowly leaned forward, hand trembling as she reached under the bed. I thought she was messing with me until her entire arm disappeared beneath the frame. And then she screamed. I'll never forget that sound. It wasn't her. It was low, guttural, like it was being ripped out of her lungs. She yanked her arm back and slid away from the bed, whispering, it's cold. It grabbed me. I jumped up, turned on the light, heart racing. There was nothing there, just my usual stuff, plastic bins, old school projects. I pulled everything out to show her. Still nothing. But Rhea was shaking. She grabbed her backpack and left without saying goodbye. She never came over again. After that night, everything got strange. She stopped answering my texts, wouldn't even look at me in school. Then she stopped showing up altogether. Her mom told mine she was dealing with anxiety. I wanted to believe it. But a couple weeks later, I thought I saw her late one night, around midnight. I was lying in bed scrolling my phone when I heard whispers. Faint, coming from under my bed. I froze, turned off my phone. Sat in the dark listening. A girl's voice, breathy. She told me about you. I sat up fast, hit my head, turned the lights on, nothing. I barely slept. A week later, Rhea was reported missing. Her mom said she'd gone for a walk and never came back. They found her backpack near a frozen lake 2 towns over, half buried in snow. No footprints, no trace of her. The police searched the lake, dredged it, nothing. It turned into a cold case. But I never forgot. I never told anyone the truth. That something grabbed her under my bed. That I still hear that voice at night. She told me about you. About a year later, I broke. I crawled under the bed with a flashlight. Pulled out every box, every bin. Lifted the mattress, nothing. But when I slid myself under the frame, I saw something scrawled in what looked like charcoal or maybe something worse. Rhea went first. I crawled out and didn't sleep for 2 days. Years have passed. I'm in college now, new city, new bed. But sometimes I still feel it's something cold. Brushing up from beneath the mattress, breathing. I don't sleep on beds with space underneath anymore. I block it with drawers, bags, anything. But still, sometimes late at night I hear it. From under desks, closets, shadows, that same whisper. She told me about you, and I think I know what's coming next. I had a best friend named Danielle. We met in kindergarten, both of us crying on the first day, both clutching matching purple lunchboxes. I still remember how we sat next to each other on the alphabet carpet during story time and never really sat apart again. From then on, we were inseparable. Everyone called us twins. Even though I'm tall and pale with freckles and she was short, tan, and fast-talking with big brown eyes. But it wasn't about looks. It was how we moved together like one person in two bodies. She was my whole world. We did everything together. Sleepovers every weekend. Inside jokes we'd say without speaking. We knew everything about each other's favorite snacks. Worst fears, the boys we secretly liked. We even made a pact once in 5th grade, right after watching Mean Girls, that no matter what happened, boys, colleges, fights, we'd always pick each other first. Always. But I learned in the worst way that people don't always keep their promises, especially when they're hiding something. Senior year, our school organized this annual trip to the mountains. Just a weekend away for the graduating class, 3 days. 2 nights, remote cabins. Hikes, bonfires, s'mores. It was supposed to be a break from tests and college apps. There was no cell service up there intentionally. So you can be present, our principal said. I hated it, but Danielle loved it. We're gonna make the best memories of our lives, she told me in the van on the way up. On the second night, everything went to hell. It was around 11 p.m. Most of us were gathered in the main lodge, playing Cards Against Humanity and stuffing ourselves with leftover chili. That's when Mr. Dean, one of the chaperones, did a head count. "Where's Tyler?" someone asked. Tyler Bishop. Tall, skinny, blonde hair that flopped over one eye. Football guy. Kind of a jerk, honestly, but nothing serious. Nobody had seen him in over an hour. At first, people joked he was hooking up with someone. Then someone said they saw red marks in the snow outside one of the cabins. A trail going into the woods. Someone screamed. The next morning, cops were there. Dogs, a DV's, a helicopter. The whole mountain was on lockdown. But they never found Tyler. The official story was a wild animal. Maybe a mountain lion or bear. Our town grieved for a bit, then moved on. Seniors posted throwback pics with captions like "Rip Bro." We signed a card for his mom. But Danielle changed. She stopped sleeping. Showed up to school with bags under her eyes, jumpy at every sound. She flinched when people touched her. She started sitting with me at lunch in complete silence, barely eating. I asked her what was wrong 100 times. She always said nothing. Until she didn't. It was a Tuesday night, maybe a week after the trip. She came over, pale and shaking. My parents were downstairs, so we locked my bedroom door, and she sat on my bed staring at the floor. "I have to tell you something," she whispered. I nodded. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. "Tyler didn't go missing." "What?" "I saw what happened," she said. She told me she and Tyler had snuck out that night. He invited her for a walk, said he wanted to talk. Danielle, being Danielle, said sure. She'd always been flirty, but harmless. But she said Tyler tried to kiss her. And when she pulled back, he got mad. Said something gross. Grabbed her arm. She panicked. Pushed him. He slipped on the icy path and hit his head on a rock. She said there was blood. A lot of it. But then, she choked. Something came out of the trees. It dragged him away. I remember the way my skin prickled when she said that. I asked her what she meant by something. "I don't know," she said. It was fast, black, wrong, it didn't move right. It had these arms, but not arms. It pulled him into the trees like he weighed nothing. "Why didn't you say anything?" "They'd never believe me." I left him there, Emma. I ran. I sat in shock. My best friend had witnessed a death, maybe even caused it, and kept it to herself. I told her we had to go to the police. She begged me not to. Saw she couldn't survive that. I told her I wouldn't say anything, that I had her back. I lied. 2 weeks later, she vanished. It was a Sunday morning. Her mom called me in tears. Danielle was gone. No signs of struggle, just an open window in her bedroom, and scratch marks on the sill. Like claws. Search parties, news coverage, helicopters again, nothing. They found a scrap of her hoodie deep in the woods near where Tyler vanished, and a single strand of blonde hair. Danielle had dark hair. I knew it wasn't hers. There was only one person in our class with blonde hair like that, Tyler Bishop. I dream about her. Sometimes Danielle in the woods, bleeding, running, being dragged. And when I wake up, I hear something at my window. Sometimes it scratches. Sometimes it whispers my name. I think she didn't just see what happened. I think whatever took Tyler was waiting for her. And now that she's gone, I think it's waiting for me. When I moved away for college, I was terrified. I had lived my whole life in a small town in Ohio, surrounded by the same people, same places, same routines. So getting accepted to a university in North Carolina felt like an escape, but once I got there, I realized how deeply lonely I was. That's why meeting Jess was such a relief. She was my first roommate, tall with curly brown hair and sharp sarcasm. We clicked instantly over true crime podcasts, horror books, and late-night ramen runs. Within weeks, she felt like a lifelong friend, someone I trusted completely. Until the night I woke up and saw her standing at the foot of my bed. It was 3:22 a.m. I remember looking at the clock, half asleep, confused. She didn't move or speak, just stood there breathing slow, heavy breaths. "Jess?" I whispered. "Nothing, just breathing." I turned on the lamp as she blinked like she was coming out of a trance, mumbled something, and crawled back into bed. The next morning, she laughed when I told her. Said her mom had mentioned she used to sleepwalk. I tried to shrug it off, but it kept happening. Twice a week, then more. Always around 3 a.m. she'd stand there watching me, sometimes mumbling things I couldn't understand, but her eyes were always open, always fixed on me. I stopped sleeping properly. My grades dropped. I barely ate. I begged her to see a doctor. She refused. I started locking our door from the inside, but she would just knock. 3 slow knocks, then silence. I told my mom. She said maybe Jess was stressed, and I wanted to believe that. But then I recorded it. I set my phone on my desk, hit record before bed, and tried to sleep. Around 3:17 a.m., I woke up. She was standing there again, but this time she wasn't alone. I lay still, pretending to sleep, heart racing. Her face was blank, head tilted like she was listening. Then she turned slowly to the corner of the room and nodded. I followed her gaze and my blood ran cold. Something was standing there. Not a shadow. Not furniture. A tall, inhuman figure. Its head brushed the ceiling. Its limbs were too long. Its face was smooth and empty like a mannequin, no eyes, no mouth. But I felt it watching me. Jess nodded again, then climbed into bed. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, staring. I don't remember falling asleep. In the morning, I watched the video and dropped my phone. I screamed. Called my mom. She told me to get out immediately. I packed everything. Jess just sat on her bed watching me. As I zipped up my suitcase, she said, "It liked you, you know." I moved dorms that day, changed my number, blocked her everywhere. I tried to forget, but I still see it sometimes, in reflections. Out of the corner of my eye, Not just at night. Sometimes when I wake up, the door I always lock is wide open. Sometimes I hear 3 slow knocks. Just like Jess, I don't think it stayed with her. I think it followed me.